Everybody, it's me, your buddy Dave, the host of the Dark Stuff channel here on YouTube. Thank you so much for checking out my latest video. As always, it is much appreciated. Today you've stumbled upon some album reviews I'm doing over here at the Dark Stuff. I'm going to cover 3 of the best new releases of the last month, and these are contenders for records of the year without a doubt. They're 3 pretty different records, so I hope you're going to stick with me the entire time. The first record we're going to talk about is the brand new record from DIE SPITZ. This is called Something to Consume. It's their first full-length album ever. This is a band from Austin, Texas. Let's look at the record real quick, okay? So, not much of an inner sleeve. The record itself, I just went for the black vinyl. You know me, I'm not like super into all the variations and whatnot. It doesn't really make much difference to me. It's how the record sounds and what the music is, right? It is a gatefold with a really cool image on this is the cover and the front and the back. It's pretty wild. I mean, I'll put it up on the screen because this isn't really doing much. But the gatefold again has the lyrics on the inside, handwritten. Very cool. I'm glad the lyrics are there because they're very well thought out and very intense lyrics. But I got to tell you, I'm 54, and even with these powerful lenses, I can't. I mean, it's just I can't read it. So. If I do actually quote any lyrics from the album here in the video, I took that off the internet, so apologies if it's wrong. It's just my eyes were so strained from this, I couldn't do it. I've done other videos that featured DIE SPITZ in them. I first caught the band back in 2023 when they opened for Amon the Sniffers at the Waiting Room. It was an incredible show. I went with a buddy of mine, and she and I were both there to see Amon the Sniffers. I didn't really know much about DIE SPITZ at that point, but their set blew me away, and that's mild. I mean, that's a mild term to say they blew me away. It was so incredible. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I immediately after the show ran back to the merch table. They didn't have much merch, but they did have their first record. Okay, so this Teeth with The Revenge of Evangeline. I bought it off the bass player, Kate. She's also my favorite in the band. Not just because of that, but because she's really tall and she plays with these gigantic, like, huge basses and she lumbers around the stage. It's like, it's fucking cool. It's pretty interesting dynamic when you see her on stage. She's great. So I bought that record, took it home, played it, loved it. The song Hair of Dog from that Teeth EP is without a doubt the band's best song so far, and that song is so great. I could listen to it like over and over and over and over, like I was a kid again when I used to. You hear a cool song and then you're just like, I want to hear it over and over and over. The video also excellent, one of the best music videos I've seen. It's so perfectly cut the way it's edited to the songs and the riffs and the timing and everything. It's just great. But I have been eagerly anticipating when, you know, DIE SPITZ would have an actual album out, right? And then I heard they got signed to Third Man. I was like, whoa, nice move, Third Man. You have caught yourself on a huge upcoming band. Just absolutely fantastic. So let's do some of the information about the record. So it's produced by a guy named Will Yip, and you've seen his name on records from bands like Mannequin Pussy, Pity, Sex, Quicksand, Scowl, Turnstile. Scowl, a band that I've caught on to recently and I'm a big fan of. So, I mean, in general, let's say there's a sort of a general sound. It does have an overall 90s influence. I love that. I was in my 20s in the 90s. That was literally my era. So I cannot complain about that. There's some grunge sounds, some post-grunge, and some metal. But even though the album doesn't have anything like A Hair of the Dog, and a lot of people saw the, you know, Throw Yourself to the Sword video or heard the song and were like, wow, that is some molten metal. The album is not a metal album. I think that'd be a misnomer to say it was. It's not just a straight punk record either. So when I'm listening to the album, I'm hearing a couple of different things. Actually, 3 sort of loose variations that I'm describing, right? So there are 90s grungy and grunge songs, some of them more catchy, some of them heavy, you know, it just kind of depends on the tune. There's a little post-grunge in there. There are some absolute metal tracks like Throw Yourself to the Sword. But I really think there's sort of 3 sounds, and there's also this third thing that's this sort of, it's heavy, dirgy, slow, but with a sort of angelic vocal sometimes, or almost dream pop. And I think a lot of those songs, and I want to say maybe Sound to No One, perhaps, or Punishers. They remind me a lot of the band Failure. Failure's been on my mind a lot lately. It's a band I love. I loved them in the 90s. I love them now in their comeback. I did just recently watch their documentary, so maybe that was a little bit on my mind, but I mean, I was hearing it. I mean, honestly, like when you're listening to like Sound to No One on side 2, it starts off, it's kind of metallic. It's a rocker. It's a sort of it reminds me a little bit of a Soundgarden-esque riff with like dreamy vocals, but then the bass has that Greg Edwards tone from Failure. In general, I would say the production is light years beyond their original 2 EPs, but it's not slick and polished by any means, and it still has a production nod almost to the late Steve Albini, in my opinion, because it does have drums are very, very loud, and the vocals are mixed just barely above the music. Okay, it's not like most songs where the vocals are so much louder than anything in the music. That's the way pop music sort of works. But Albini just used to mix records where the vocal was just barely above the noise. And you're hearing that, I hear that anyways, when I'm listening to Something to Consume. And it's something that I like because bands don't really do that anymore. It's just not done. They're great musicians, even better than I assumed they were from seeing them live and watching tons of clips. I think the lyrics are super intense and powerful and very, very meaningful, and you can just feel it in the performance. Inside the album, it doesn't say who specifically played what. It says that it's played by these 4 members, all songs written by these 4 members, but 3 of them can switch instruments, right? So Kate is always on bass, but Chloe, Ava, and Ellie sometimes play drums, and sometimes they switch, and play the other's guitar or whatever. So I hadn't seen a band do that really since Those Darlings, where they used to switch between bass and drums and guitar. And it's cool to watch. And it just shows how incredibly talented they are, because the guitar parts are not easy. Some of these songs, they have some really cool melodic bits. There's a real shredder solo on Throw Yourself to the Sword. And there's a lot of really cool parts like that. And if you're just switching instrument to instrument, the drums are played really well on that. That's hard to do with multiple drummers. It doesn't sound like it's different if it switches to another drummer. So, again, big note on that one. I have to say probably the best song on the album is the song called American Porn. The song is a melodic rocker, starts off kind of slow, and then it explodes. It probably has the most impassioned vocal performance on the entire record, and you can literally feel the rage coming out of the speakers. So, the chorus is the most intense part, and the lyrics are like, stay right here, come with me, show and perform, shut your mouth, show your face, American porn. Stay right here, come with me, shut your mouth, show your face, American porn. After that, there's a lot of songs after that, but I need a break when I'm listening to it straight through after that song, because I usually play it twice, and then I'm just like, all right, I need to like mellow out for a second. It's just, I've already discussed Sound to No One. Go Get Dressed on side 2 is just a really slow kind of dirgy tune with more Greg Edwards sounding bass on that one. Kate's bass is really doing that Greg Edwards thing. It's really, really cool. You got Red 40, fast, fun rocker, Riding With My Girls. It's a very fast metallic tune, and there's a video for that one. It kind of reminds me almost of like Bad Motorfinger era Soundgarden, so 92, 93. Different style of vocals, but like, again, a really, really great tune, Riding With My Girls. Punishers was one that I recognized as sounding very Failure-esque. Listen to the album Comfort, guys, the first album. And then Down on It, which is a really awesome tune, an aggressive rocker. It's like all 100% attitude. It's like the guitar chords are so cool, and when they're building up to the chorus, and then it's like this great Nirvana chorus where it's just a screamer that's like you're gonna be screaming along because she's screaming down on it. It's fucking so fun to listen to. When I say Nirvana, it's like people don't really write like that. People try to write like Nirvana. People have tried for years. I'm gonna be the next Nirvana. These guys aren't trying to be the next Nirvana. They just write that way. I think it comes out that way naturally. And like when you listen to the guitar chords that lead up to the chorus, the stuff could sometimes be deceptively simple, the way Nirvana was, where he plays like 3 chords and you're like, but how is it so fucking catchy? Because I play those 3 chords and it sounds like shit. Right. You don't have the writing skills of DIE SPITZ or Nirvana. But anyways, my favorite tracks on the record are definitely American Porn, Voir dire, and Down on It. And if I had to give it a out of 10 sort of rating, I'd give it a 9 out of 10. I mean, this album is absolutely incredible. 100% worth the hype. It exceeds the hype without question. The next record is the new record from Alex Williams. It's called Space Spray. Now, this may be the one that you haven't heard of. I'm not sure. But I hadn't heard of Alex Williams until just a couple of weeks ago. And I was invited to go out to see him in concert at this place called Buck's Bar and Grill, which is in rural Nebraska. It's in a place called Venice, Nebraska, which is literally a one-horse town. I mean, I'm not kidding. There's like 3 buildings in the town. Buck's is one of the buildings. And if you were driving too fast in the dark, you would just whiz right by it. But fortunately, I was with someone who knew where they were going. And Buck's is mostly a country bar, and it's one that you don't buy advance tickets. They don't sell advance tickets. So we wanted to see this guy, mostly on the recommendation of my friend Mark Manor, who runs the website Omaha Buzz. He's also the manager over at Homer's Records. He's seen Alex Williams a couple of times, and he convinced myself and Erica, my co-host from Rock of Aging, to come out and see the show. We got a bunch of other people, friends, significant others, whatever. We went out and we got a big table at the club. The reason that we were so intrigued by Alex Williams, who is a country artist, originally from, had spent a lot of time in Nashville, I think he's left Nashville at this point, was because this new album called Space Brain is all 80s metal covers done country. And believe me, that was incredibly intriguing to Erica for sure, and me also. I mean, that was enough. I was interested. I wanted to hear what this sort of sounded like, and I figured I could take a chance. You know, I'd never been out to Buck's. I'd never seen Alex Williams. I don't know anything about it. It's intriguing hearing a country artist that wants to do 80s metal songs. And he said at one point in the show that he got into this music because this was his dad's music, and he grew up listening to it. That made me feel really old, because he didn't look that much younger than me. I mean, he's had a hard life, you know, touring all the time, being a country star, whatever. It's a rough road. But at the same time, I did kind of feel old because these were the songs of my youth. And he's saying, yeah, this is what my dad used to listen to. But I put that aside, that potentially insulting thing, and I put that aside, and I was like, okay, let's hear this. Love the show. We're going to review it on Rock of Aging coming up in another month or so. But I just want to sit here and talk about the record and the song choices because they're so good. These will have you singing along to songs that you have heard thousands of times, but it feels like it's a whole new song. I mean, so at the concert, the first song was "You Got Another Thing Coming," and as soon as it gets to the pre-chorus or whatever, and you're hearing the, you know, "In this world we're living in," okay, but when he's doing it country and you start hearing those same words and you're like, oh man, this is gonna be good, and that was the way I felt like it, and that's the way I feel like on most of these songs. I mean, it opens with "Flying High Again," which does feature a country artist, Cody Jinks, on the track. If you're a country guy, I'm not really, but I'm throwing that out there because I know other people like it. It was produced by a man named Ben Fowler, who has produced a lot more traditional country records like Blake Shelton, Rascal Flatts, LeAnn Rimes, and his previous Alex Williams record. So again, I'm throwing in there for some country points. It doesn't mean that much to me personally, but hoping that gets you there. So Flying High Again, killer. Great arrangements, a little bit slower, you know. And Flying High Again was probably the first Ozzy song I heard, so it fits here. And again, the lyrics work for country. It really does. You think at Ozzy lyrics, maybe they're not going to work in this kind of environment. Definitely does. Night Train by Guns N' Roses after that. Ace of Spades from Motörhead, amazing. Nobody's Fool by Cinderella, which does actually feature Tom Kiefer on it. He doesn't sing the lead vocal. You can hear him, but it's not super distinct or very, very loud, but you can tell it's Tom Kiefer on the track, which is interesting. So he's gotten some attention from some of these guys. But That's perfect because Tom Kiefer's almost like the model because he is rock and he likes country and like traditional rock and roll roots music or whatever. And perfect song to have chosen. Nobody's Fool is the one he did on that one. Round and Round by Rat closes out side 1 on this amazing record. Have I even looked at the record or showed you what the record looks like? Okay, so sorry. There's a picture of him there. Here he is. There's more pictures of Alex Williams. And the record itself, green. Pretty awesome, okay? I know I said it 10 minutes ago that I don't really care about colors and variations. I didn't. I just, at a quiet moment in the set, like I think he was tuning his guitar, I jumped up from the table and ran over to the booth, merch booth, and bought the record. I didn't ask what color it was or any of that stuff. So you get on the side 2, and he covers Poison straight off the bat. Look what the cat dragged in. And he does it exceptionally well. Again, I was really liking it. I probably haven't listened to the album or the song Look What the Cat Dragged In by Poison in 40 years. But I was sitting there going, you know, half alive or half dead, I just can't. I mean, I was remembering the Poison song. It was bringing it up, but it was also, I was hearing it again in a new way. Really, really fun. Wild Side from Mötley Crüe comes up next. Youth Gone Wild, Skid Row, obviously. Then studio version of You Got Another Thing Coming. And then Getting Better by Tesla. I don't care for Tesla too much, but I mean, whatever. I know people that like this music do. So, again, this is not some sort of novelty. This is music he genuinely believes in and really, really likes. He is a country artist, but not modern, like, bro country bullshit. Like, he's just grittier. He's like 70s country or something. He just grit. That's the only word that I can come up with. I will 100% go see him again if he comes back to Bucks or if he plays in a different venue next time or wherever he's playing. It was absolutely great. Sometimes he just plays solo acoustic. I'd go to that too. I mean, I really did love this album, and I sent it out, the album from Apple Music to like maybe half a dozen friends. And 5 out of the 6 loved it absolutely. I'm looking at you, Todd, at Lost Mixtapes. You were the one that didn't like it. Anyways, everybody else loved it. I have not presented this record to somebody who wasn't blown away, with one exception. Anyways, Alex Williams, Space Brain. This is a must-buy if you're a fan of traditional, like rock, you know, like gritty country. You like 80s metal. You want to hear some of these songs in a new light. Again, this is the guy. On the agenda is the newest album from Superchunk, Songs in the Key of Yikes. If you've been watching my channel for like literally any amount of time, you know Superchunk is one of my all-time favorite bands. A couple years ago, I did a catalog ranking of their entire catalog. It obviously doesn't include this because it just came out, nor their previous one, Wild Loneliness, but every other one prior to that is in the ranking. It'll be linked below, and I'll probably put a little QR code somewhere up here so you can just get to it. Songs in the Key of Yikes, first of all, amazing album title, and it is so perfect for what we're all going through right now. I mean, America's just trash right now. The world is falling apart. It's terrible. These are songs in the key of yikes, you know? It's Superchunk's 13th album in their 36-year career. I mean, there was a decade where they didn't really do much. First album with the new drummer, Laura King. So that's a nice bonus, and she's pictured there on the back of the record. I caught Laura in the drummer's chair last year when I saw Superchunk on their Foolish at 30 tour. The tour was amazing. I talk in the video about how I had a borderline religious experience, and I was worried that I was going to start weeping and the band was going to think I was having a medical emergency or something and call the shut the show down or something. So I had to like keep it together. But it was absolutely incredible, and it was my first time seeing the band without John Wurster. And I do know, I miss John Wurster. I mean, in terms of, do I notice a distinct difference in the drums on this album? I'm not going to lie and say I do specifically. I mean, Laura King plays her own style. I'm unfamiliar with her other bands, so this, you know, I can't compare it to that or whatever. So, founding member, bassist Laura Balance is still in the band. You haven't seen her in concert since probably 2010, 2011 or so, and that spot is typically filled by Jason Narducci, but not always. There have been a couple of other players when Jason is touring with Bob Mould, or if he's doing his REM thing or whatever. So the band is still 3/4 of the band you're very familiar with. I just start by saying that this is another great Superchunk album. Okay, you listen to my catalog ranking, I was critical of like 2 albums in their entire catalog. I basically love this band and love almost everything they do. I will say that, you know, it's a mid-tempo record. It's very you're not getting the blazing speed of like On the Mouth or whatever. Those guys, it was 35 years ago, guys. They're different people. But they're very catchy and very relatable lyrics. I mean, I feel like, I think Mac is maybe a year or 2 older than me, so we're kind of going through some of the same like life stuff. So when he's doing the song, like, first of all, Care Less, which is maybe my favorite on the record, where he's just like, I'm trying to care less. Because you see what else is going on in the world and how fucked up it is, and you're just like, I'm trying, and the chorus is so catchy, I'm trying to care less. But it's hard when you're a thinking, feeling person to just try not to care about something. It almost makes you care about it more sometimes. But I can still relate to that a lot. I can really relate to No Hope sometimes. Everybody Dies. It's just feeling like getting older and stuff. You know, every song on this is great. The song Bruised Lung, which is the second song on the record, features Rosalie on the track. I've talked about Rosalie here on the channel a couple of times. She's amazing. The song is really good. And when he says, like, I've got a bruised lung, but you can't see. And then he says, it only hurts when I breathe. That's a cool line. I don't know. It stuck out to me, you know. But I can't think of a song I don't like on the record. Again, it starts off, Is It Making You Feel Something? Great song. I've been playing that on the radio the last couple of weeks. I think this is better than Wild Loneliness, actually, which I thought was a really good record, but not as standout-ish as this one. I think this one is actually an improvement over the last one. How would it rank with the rest of the records? I don't know. I've only had it for 2 weeks, guys. I mean, I can't just put it in there with stuff that's so seminal to my entire life. But I do say it probably would show pretty well. It's a good record. I mean, like I said, the band has aged well. They're not trying to be themselves from decades past. They have aged gracefully, and they still rock out like you wouldn't believe. I'm just thinking of some of these other songs. Climb the Walls, Everybody Dies. Stuck in a Dream is another really great one. Train on Fire. God, really, really good batch of songs from Mac. So in conclusion, all 3 albums that I talked about today, which of course, Something to Consume by DIE SPITZ, Aces, 9 out of 10. Alex Williams, Space Brain. I didn't give that one a ranking last time. I'd probably go 8 out of 10 on that one. A fantastic record, a must buy, a must hear at least stream it on the fucking Apple Music or Spotify or whatever it is you do. And then Superchunk, Songs in the Key of Yikes. Another fantastic contribution to the Superchunk catalog. I'd go 8 out of 10 on that one. Maybe a pinch on, maybe 8.5 if it really mattered to you. 3 killer albums that you will no doubt be seeing later on in the year among best of 2025. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.